Namaskar, everybody.
Namaste, sir.
I thought I will give a very casual, but something that I wanted to talk from my heart. Anjali prepared a speech for me, but I would like to talk about certain experiences of life, of the styles of leadership, and what we expect in the new ecosystem that is changing the world, and more so in the field of education. I was very happy. I was the other day in Lucknow when we inaugurated our school new building, and the infrastructure that we have created is world class. Lot of you who have been in Lucknow school and also on the various platforms who have seen that function will agree with me that in terms of infrastructure, the investment that we have made is something really exceptional. But today, to run a school, infrastructure is not the only thing. For us, tangible assets are important because the ecosystem, the students, what they see, what amenities and facilities which are provided are important. But it is more important that we have the intangible assets who are our people, who are our teachers. And we want to invest in our teachers, our people, our people from the leadership team, and right across the board. So the basic intention is that we are able to provide the right type of teaching and learning, and they start involving and engaging in every aspect of education. During the COVID times, we have also gone through a major transition phase because of digital technologies coming into place for which none of us were prepared. We changed drastically, and I could see that one, if it's driven to the wall, there's a tendency to change. We wanted to change couple of years back, but it could not happen. And overnight it happened. So this is the beauty of any crisis, that people are able to transform, they are able to reinvent, they are able to reimagine themselves and do something which nobody can expect. Sushma asked me to talk a few words, but you all have to bear with me because I thought I'll be speaking for another 10 or 15 minutes. Your program might be disturbed, but I thought I'll share my thoughts with you. For a leader, it is important to have a long term vision about the company, but it is equally important that his mindset is grounded to day one, which means that he should not be complacent. He should start feeling that what he wants to do today, he has the energy to continue to do again and again and transform himself and be curious and inquisitive as if he was on day one. And hence, then only you will be able to change. You will be able to involve everybody, get the best practices in place, and try to build your organization wherever you are working. We have seen that our schools in the last couple of years have improved their ranking considerably. And I'm extremely happy that all of you have worked so hard to be able to achieve this. So the ranking as per education world are in the 30s on an all India basis. And now, like everybody is aspirational, the management is also aspiring that why can't we come in the first 10? And but naturally, when you want to come from 30 to 10, so this involves lot of hard work, lot of better understanding about situations, and going deeper into various aspects of education and the ecosystem that surrounds it. So I'm hopeful that we will continue to become better, and we probably go from good to great in due course of time. Couple of months back or years back, we did this envision exercise. We tried to understand what our mission statement is, what our vision is, how we should go about, make a school development plan, and lot of exercise and ideation and iteration went across, and that has prepared us for the future. And I think if we move along those lines and continue to imbibe new things, lot of more things can continuously come. I would like to, as I mentioned in the beginning, like to share one or two experiences which I used to hear from my grandfather and father with regard to leadership. In the early 70s, my grandfather, Mangtu Ramji Jaipuria, who was a Padma Bhushan, he had studied only up to class 2, but the government of India gave him Padma Bhushan because of his intellect and his execution of work. So he was in Switzerland sometime back in the, I think in the late 60s or 70s, and he went to a chairman's room of a bank and asked the chairman of that Swiss bank as to, because the bank opens at 8 o'clock and he was given a time at about 9:30 to meet the chairman. And when he met him at 9:30, and the timing of the bank was from 8 to 5. So when he was there with him for half an hour, he asked him as to what exactly do you do when you are working in from office. And the chairman did not have big offices like your chairman or your principals or your directors or the vice chairmen. He had a glass office and an open office, and he was sitting right in the entrance of the building. So the chairman said that my office opens at 8 o'clock. I come at 7:30, finish my preliminary work and set the agenda for the day. I have meeting with my staff between 8 o'clock to 9:30, and after that I'm free. He said, what do you do from 9:30 to 5 o'clock? He says, I have access to everybody who's coming into the bank and whoever goes back. And I only see the faces of people who are going out of my bank. And if I see an unpleasant face or somebody who is disappointed, I call him inside my office and talk to him and try to understand whether he is satisfied or not satisfied and what has gone wrong. And then I understand what is happening in the bank. And this is a lesson that we have to learn. The role of the senior leadership team is to keep a lot of time free so that they are able to not do the routine things which can be given to other people, but try to understand whether the parent who has come to us, who is a customer for us, whether he is happy with us. And in case he is not happy, somebody should be able to have the time to speak to him and try to understand what are the challenges that you are facing. Because at times when you go up in the senior leadership team, we feel that we become very aloof with our customers. And today it is a very customer centric approach that we have to adopt. All good companies across the board has a very customer focused approach, and this is something which we have to learn, that if we work in a very proper manner, then we can finish our work in 30 or 40% of our time, because we are able to empower our team to be able to execute what we want. And the remaining time we should be able to deal with the whole ecosystem that is required to be dealt with, particularly our customers and consumers. When I say customers, the parents, I believe, are our customers. And when I say consumers, it is the students who are working with us who are our consumers. So we have to look after the interest both of our customers as well as our consumers. In the last couple of months, we have been trying to put into place a system that we are able to see every touch point that we are able to have with our customers, how we are engaging with them, right from our teaching and learning, and now that the lessons are also happening online, and the customer and the consumer both are interfaced with us when the teaching is going on. So they also precisely know how our teachers are teaching, what is the joy of teaching, how are they learning, and all those things. So I think this uh, strong bonding with the customer as well as the consumer will be very important, and it will be driven by data. So this was one experience I wanted to share. The other experience out is not basically a leadership experience, but more like a branding exercise or the vision what the multinational companies or luxury good companies think about. I wanted to just talk about. Once my father was in Switzerland or probably France, and he met the chairman of one of the biggest branded companies who has a presence in luxury goods, which is all of us know the biggest is Louis Vuitton in the world. And he sells his goods. If he's selling a purse, it might be priced at $1,000 or maybe $10,000. And the sky is the limit as far as the pricing is concerned. So my father said to him, Mr. Louis Vuitton, I don't remember his name, so I'm just addressing him as Mr. Louis Vuitton. I've been to your shops, your prices are extremely steep. Who is buying your goods? And more so because a lot of fake goods of your brand is available all over the world. So why should anybody buy something which is priced at $10,000 when they can get the same thing at $100, which is a fake or an imitation? And why don't you clamp down on these goods? Because these goods are being prepared and made in countries like China, Nepal, Thailand, and other. So what he answered was that we know that these things are happening, and earlier we used to clamp on these goods and we used to do policing, investigation, find out who is doing all these things. But later on we thought that this is a useless exercise. And we started believing in the fact that the people who cannot afford us have no other option but to buy the imitated goods. But tomorrow they will be our customers. So we don't encourage them, but simultaneously we don't discourage it also. Because the moment he has the resources, he'll start buying from us. And that is what happened. Today, China is the biggest market for all these companies who are in the, and because the customer has become so aspirational that he wants to buy the best of goods. Price is inconsequential if one has the money, he wants to buy these goods. So things are changing dramatically. And I think these two small experiences I wanted to share with all of you when we are talking about leadership, when we are talking about how do we envision ourselves, what are the skills and competencies required. We are expecting so much from our children today. I remember when we started looking at, I've been actively engaged for the last maybe 10 or 12 years. And we only used to talk about reading, writing, and arithmetic. Then we started talking about the 21st century skills and the four C's. Then we started talking about social emotional learning and design thinking. So we expect the children to do and know everything. But are we as leaders also doing what we are expecting others to do? It's something that comes to my mind all the time. And I personally see that it is important that we also grow maybe faster so that we are able to deliver what is to be delivered to our children in due course of time. Because young children are adapt to technology very fast. They are able to learn things much more faster. At times I also learn from my grandchildren as to how to use certain tools. But unless we also change our mindsets, it will be very challenging in the future to be able to adapt to the new ecosystem and the way of work. The Star Academy that we started and launched during the pandemic, I think we are doing a wonderful job. Most of you have attended, and some of you have also taken courses. It is very well accepted, both internally from our franchise members and also from some of the people who have attended. It is an investment for us. And as somebody said, one of the chief executives of a very large multinational companies was asked, with my finance guy, Mr. Bikram Agarwal, is there. And this CEO used to invest a lot of money on training of his people. तो विक्रम अग्रवाल जी ने उनसे पूछा, चेयरमैन साहब आप क्या कर रहे हो, आप तो पैसा लुटा रहे हो, अब आप इनके ऊपर ट्रेनिंग में क्यों पैसा खर्चा करते हो, क्योंकि इनमें से तो आधे छोड़ जाएंगे आप ट्रेन कर देंगे तो चेयरमैन साहब का ये जवाब था कि यदि हमने ट्रेनिंग नहीं दिया और वो हमारे संग रुक जाएंगे तो क्या होगा. The problem is we want to train people not because, and we want them to grow organically, but we don't want people to stay with us who are not trained, because that will be more damaging for us, both for today and tomorrow. Because unless you are trained, you will also, and हमारे बाबा जी हमेशा बोलते थे कि एक अच्छा आदमी को लाओगे एज प्रिंसिपल तो वो अच्छी टीम डेवलप करेगा. और एक, सॉरी टू से, लैंग्वेज विच विल नॉट लाइक, कि किसी गधे को ऊपर बैठा दोगे तो नीचे सब गधे ही आने वाले हैं. तो we try to get the best resources, and our leadership team, we are proud कि people like Manju ji, Harish ji, Shikha ji, Poonam ji, and all of you who are there present in the webinar. I am taking the liberty. I am sorry if you all, I hope you all don't mind about it. But the question is, it happens that if you don't have the right person at the right place, then he will always like to bring people who are not those that much competent down below him. So hence, lot of training is required, and the selection process has to be very rigid. And the role of HR today has become very, very relevant and most important thing as far as I see it. And Anjali, you have to continuously see what are the best practices, what are the changes that is happening in the HR field, how much digital intervention is required as far as leadership qualities are concerned, how you are able to analyze and make use of the data. We have been talking about these four things, whether it is the data, whether it is design thinking, whether it is the agility with which we move. क्योंकि आज के दिन यदि हम लोग अजाइल नहीं होंगे और हम लोग निम्बल नहीं होंगे अपने थॉट प्रोसेस में, जितनी भी बड़ी कंपनियां हैं वो चेष्टा करती हैं कि रोज नया प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च कर दें. आप एप्पल को देख लीजिए, जियामी को देख लीजिए, हायर को देख लीजिए. आई एम नेमिंग सम ऑफ द चाइनीज कंपनी. Xiaomi launches a Apple a phone every month, while Apple launches a phone every year. So this is the way how nimble and how fast and how agile these Chinese companies have become. That we have to, certain things we have to learn from them, because in case there's a problem, you can always do course correction. But if we try to perfect everything and try to be the best, we'll be delaying our activity, and ultimately somebody will be faster than us and he'll be launching the product, because competition will come from anywhere and everywhere today, and it will be impossible for us to compete. So I would like that all of you firstly engage and understand all the nuances which are required for school management. Whilst most of you today who have joined us here will be in the role of a teaching, but today if you have to be a good administrator, a good teacher, or tomorrow take a leadership role as a principal or vice principal, some of you are already there. You have to understand accounts, you have to understand the ecosystem, you have to understand how you manage the school, the administration, the security, and various other aspects, particularly human relationship, media, social, how do you get admissions, and so on and so forth. So every function which is important has to be understood, despite the fact you might have specialists in these areas who will be working with you. But unless you also understand some of the nuances of this and you can effectively contribute, so it's a process of continuously learning, relearning, and unlearning things, and reading a lot so that you can do more research, more understanding about children's psychology, and so many other things. So the mantra will be also that we should be able to measure, and unless we measure, it has no meaning. I've been asking Harish ji and Vikram and the team at the corporate office that while we are implementing the ERP system, but we should have measurable goals and we should be able to have analysis of what we are doing and whether we have been able to go from A to B and from B to C and are able to attain the objective that we are wanting to attain. So those are something, unless the progression is there and we see a remarkable improvement. Just now, before joining the meeting, we have been talking about how we want to see a professional development of each and every teacher and see their skills and competencies. Likewise, we want to see how the progression of each child is happening from class 1 to class 2 and so on and so forth. So it is important because everything is now personalized. So we have to have the purpose, we have to have the passion, and then has to be a hyper personalization of events, which will ultimately lead us to something that we want to achieve and to become from good to great, as I mentioned in the beginning. As Satya Nadella, I'm again referring to him, says that IT industry, because we have seen the growth of IT industry in India, that IT industry does not respect tradition. What it respects is innovation. And this is likely to happen in every service sector industry, including education. Although we can say that we are 75 years old, we have a legacy, we have a tradition, we have a culture, but unless you innovate, unless you change, unless you have the mindset which is different, and unless you break down that into different problem solving attitude and involve and engage every person within the organization, it is not only the 30 or 40 people that we are talking here today that have to be engaged in this exercise. It has not to only to be top driven, it has to be bottoms up. From the people from down below will have to give us suggestions, give us ideas which we have to filter, which we have to improve, and then try to sharpen like a diamond and to see that the stone becomes a diamond. So those are the thoughts which we should be able to have, which we are able to develop, and that will only succeed us in the long run. So these are the small thoughts I wanted to give you. And the last thing I would like to talk about is one of the largest consultancy companies. There are big five consultancy companies. All of you know, like Price Waterhouse or Cooper and Lybrand or Ernst and Young. So I was reading the statement made by the chairman of the Cooper and Lybrand, and they say that although in the beginning I said that our people or our teachers or anybody connected with us are our biggest assets. Now Cooper and Lybrand says our people are our customers' most important assets. Our people whom we engage are our customers' most important assets. So unless they are a good asset for them, there's no use of having or deploying that person. And secondly, we want to be the employer of choice of employees our customers will choose. So today, if we have to be in any profession, the customer will choose that whom he want to deal with. If I have to go to a doctor and there are 100 doctors, I will choose which doctor I want to go to. It is not the doctor who will decide that the patient will come to him. I'm just repeating for the sake of your convenience. We want to be the employer of choice of employees our customers will choose. So there has to be a 360-degree appraisal. There has to be an understanding and reflection that all of us should be prepared for. And this is for good of all of us because this brings a lot of transparency, good governing practices. We learn from each other and we try to self develop. And I think once we are able to do that, it'll be only going up the ladder and never looking back. So these were some of the thoughts. And on leadership, I will only like to mention, although some of the pointers that I made, you all can dwell upon it. अंजलि विक्रम विनोद जी हमारे एडवाइजर बैठे हैं much more knowledgeable than me, but I thought I'll bring some certain aspects to the table. Shushma is also there, Manju ji, and so many others. But today, leadership is not with the people at the top. It is something which has to be shared. It is there with a lot of people, almost each one of us, and it is only because of collaborative approach that we have we will be able to excel. Unless we collaborate, because everybody brings to the table something new, something different, and unless we engage them and we have a mindset of continuous change, we will not be able to develop ourselves in future. Which these few words I would like to end here. I've taken a lot of your time, but I thought I'll share my feelings with
Thank you so
all
much.
group of people. Thank you so much.